I can't compete with a ghost, so I won't. He can keep your heart for all eternity. Just let me hold you for all of mine.
Hold up, hold up. Is this dude proposing to a tombstone? Is this Twilight with more crying and less sparkling? Because that's the vibe I'm getting, and frankly, I'm already uncomfortable.
Welcome back to Heartbook Radio. Today, we're diving into Meagan Brandy's Promise Me Not, a book that's apparently tearing the internet apart faster than a celebrity divorce.
Tearing it apart. More like setting it on fire and then throwing gasoline on the flames. This book is about a guy, Mason, who falls in love with his dead best friend's pregnant girlfriend.
It's more nuanced than that. It explores themes of grief, loss, and the complexities of finding love in the wake of tragedy.
Nuanced, please. It's like the author took a Nicholas Sparks novel, injected it with steroids, and then threw in a paternity test for good measure. And I heard the author wrote this while locked in a sensory deprivation tank, fueled only by Red Bull and the tears of heartbroken readers.
I highly doubt that's accurate.
You doubt either way, HENG. Remember last week when you said Moby Dick was a heartwarming tale about a man and his whale?
That was a metaphorical interpretation.
All right, let's talk about Mason. This guy. He's either the most romantic man on the planet or a stage 5 clinger with a savior complex. He's basically stalking this poor pregnant woman, Peyton, under the guise of being there for her.
He's not stalking her. He's providing support during an incredibly difficult time. He lost his best friend, too, remember?
Oh, I remember. And I also remember that time my neighbor's dog died and he started wearing the dog's collar. It's the same energy, creepy. He's obsessed with Peyton and the baby, little Denton. He's basically playing house with a ghost's family.
He's stepping up to be a father figure. That's admirable. Peyton is grieving, vulnerable.
Vulnerable. She's a walking, talking red flag factory. She's pushing him away, then pulling him back in. It's like watching a yo-yo championship of emotional manipulation. My ex used to do that. Drove me nuts. Made me start collecting porcelain dolls. Don't ask.
Peyton is processing her trauma. It's not fair to judge her so harshly. And Mason, for all his intensity, is genuinely trying to do the right thing.
Right thing. He's basically auditioning for the role of replacement dad, before the original dad is even cold in the ground. And don't even get me started on little Denton. That kid is going to need therapy. Imagine growing up knowing your dad was in love with your mom while she was pregnant with your actual dad's baby. It's a soap opera waiting to happen.
There's a deep connection between Mason and Peyton, forged in shared grief. It's complicated.
Complicated like a Rubik's Cube made of barbed wire.
The writing is undeniably powerful. Brandy captures the raw emotions of grief and the yearning for connection with incredible skill.
Powerful. I've read more emotionally resonant grocery lists. One reviewer said, "A conversation with a lamp would have been more interesting than this book." A lamp.
Another reviewer called it beautiful and praised the way the timelines flowed.
Flowed. Like sewage. Another one said it was so confusing. They're all over the place. It's like the author threw darts at a board of random plot points.
Actually, now that I think about it, the pacing was a bit uneven, and the constant back and forth between Mason and Peyton did get repetitive.
Ha! I knew you'd see the light, or, in this case, the flickering, dim bulb of a poorly written romance novel.
But the emotional core of the story, the exploration of grief, that's where the book shines. If Mason were a sandwich, he'd be grilled cheese, comforting, familiar, but maybe a little too cheesy for some.
Cheesy. He'd be a triple-decker pastrami on rye, with extra mustard and a side of existential dread. And Peyton, she'd be a stale cracker. No flavor, just crumbs.
Dear Heartbook Radio, I think Mason is a true romantic hero. He's selfless and devoted, 5 stars.
Selfless. He's about as selfless as a cat burglar at a jewelry convention. Here's another one. This book made me want to throw my Kindle into a volcano. 1 star. See, people are divided.
Howard Jones. Me not. A solid 6 out of 10 broken promises. It has flaws, but the emotional intensity is undeniable.
6 out of 10. Are you kidding me? I give it 2 out of 5 therapy sessions. It's a mess, a beautiful, angsty, potentially toxic mess.
Join us next week on Heartbook Radio, when we'll be discussing the existential angst of underwater basket weaving.
Oh, joy, another literary masterpiece, I'm sure. I can't wait to hear about the symbolism of soggy reeds, eh? This is reminding you to keep your love life less complicated than a Meagan Brandy novel. And for the love of all that is holy, don't fall for your dead best friend's pregnant girlfriend.